Hola, estudiantes! Present tense regular verbs. This is review, so we're going to move quickly. So presten atención, pay attention, okay? In Spanish, you guys know there are three kinds of regular verbs. There are AR verbs, ER verbs, and IR verbs. And so conjugating these verbs is really easy. You're going to drop the AR or the ER or the IR, and then you'll add the appropriate ending. So let's go back and review our pronouns. These are the foundation for Spanish grammar. You need to know these before we start conjugating verbs. So first person singular, that's going to be yo. That's I. That's what I use to talk about myself. Second person singular is tú, you, informal. So I use that with someone I'm familiar with, a friend, a family member. Third person singular, we have él, which is he. Notice the accent over the E. Ella is she. And usted is the you formal. We use that to talk to Dr. Anderson, a police officer, someone we want to show respect to. Okay, plural. Nosotros, we all boys, or boys and girls. Nosotras, we all girls. And then in Spain, they use vosotros for the you plural. Vosotros and vosotras. So we're going to learn about vosotros, but you're not going to be tested on it, okay? But it's nice to be familiar. Now we have third person plural. Ellos, they. It's going to be all boys or boys and girls. Ellas, they, all girls. And then ustedes is the you plural that's used in Latin America.
We're going to go through a brief overview now of how to conjugate regular verbs in the present tense. And you're going to have a place in a few minutes where you can take notes. So right now, just pay attention. We're going to take what is an AR verb here, like bailar. You're going to take off the AR and you're going to add the endings that are in blue. So for the yo form, we have bailó. Tú, bailas, él, usted, o ella baila, bailamos, bailáis, and bailan. And really all you have to do is memorize the endings, and that'll work for any AR verb. O, as, a, amos, ais, an. Next we have ER verbs, and ER verbs do the exact same thing. You can see here that we have the ER ending for comer. You take off the ER and add the appropriate endings. Como, comes, come, comemos, coméis, comen. The blue is the part that you need to memorize. So for ER verbs, o, es, e, hemos, es, en. Last but not least are IR verbs. We have vivir. Vivo, vives, vive, vivimos, vivís, viven. You'll notice that ER and IR are almost identical. The only difference is in nosotros and vosotros, where we have vivimos and vivís. Instead of having the E, we've changed to an I, but all other forms are the same. So if we go to the next slide, this is where we're going to have you write it down. This chart right here should look exactly like the chart that you were given as homework to fill in. Today we are only filling in the part that has the regular AR, ER, and IR verbs. The other ones we will get to throughout the next week or two. So to fill it in, we're going to start with bailar. And as we said, you take off the AR and you're going to add the endings. And we want you to write the whole thing in the space to show that you can put it all together. Bailó, bailas, baila, bailamos, bailáis, and bailan. And notice that if we had another AR verb like hablar, it would just go habló, hablas, habla, hablamos, habláis, hablan. If you need a minute, this would be a good time to pause and make sure you have the AR verbs filled in. Moving on to ER. Comer would be como, comes, come, comemos, coméis, comen. And if you notice, the main difference here is that anywhere there was an A in the AR verbs, it's now an E in the ER verbs. Vivir, vivo, vives, vive, vivimos, vivís, viven. Fill those in as well, and if you need to pause at any time, you can pause to make sure you have time to catch up. We have a few notes that we want to talk about. The first one is that the only difference, which I mentioned before, between ER and IR verbs in the present tense is the nosotros and vosotros forms. Comemos versus vivimos. So the IR verbs now use an I, but only in the nosotros and vosotros. We also want to talk about the meanings. So for bailo, it could have three possible meanings. In English, we have different verb conjugations for I dance, I do dance, and I am dancing. But bailo can mean any of those three, so you do not have to look for the word do or am. It's kind of already in the verb. Oh, oh, warning! Notice that Spanish is a pro-drop language, and what that means is that pronouns like yo, tú, él, ella are optional. You can use them to emphasize or determine the subject if you're not sure who you're talking about, but you do not need them. Bailo means I dance. Yo bailo also means I dance. There is absolutely no difference. We have a few ejemplos here. Yo bailo solo. I dance alone. Nosotros bailamos. We dance. Las ardillas comen la pizza. So we use the ellos form then of las ardillas. They eat the pizza. Él come muchos tacos y tacos grandes. He eats a lot of tacos. He is the taco eating champion. Tú vives en Colorado. And I would say that that's probably true for all of you. It's the you familiar live in Colorado. Ellos viven en Florida. They live in Florida. Práctica. Here's where we're going to give you a little bit of practice. Make sure that you're watching these videos and filling out the grid. You're going to text the answers to the following 5 questions to your teacher's Google Voice number. Pick your teacher, please, if you want to get credit. The numbers are listed before. If you need to, you can write it down. It should already be in your phone. Práctica. Take a minute, pause this video right here, and try and fill in the 5 blanks using the notes that you've already used. Welcome back. We're going to go over and see if you were correct. Yo, so for comer, you just take off the ER and we add an O. Yo como el almuerzo cada día. Ellos, blank, muy bien. They dance very well, and the answer would be bailan, because it's the ellos form. Nosotros vivimos en los Estados Unidos. Vivimos, remember, is one of those IR verbs where they have an I instead of the E for the nosotros. Tú hablas todo el tiempo. You talk all the time. Ella vive en Honduras. So please make sure that you have texted all 5 of those to your teacher and come prepared with any questions you have to class tomorrow. Adios!